Yo, this is your boy Kofi back at it with another video. Um, I just want to make this video about giving 3 reasons why Justin Fields is 5 times, no, screw it, 10 times better than Mitchell Trubisky or Nick Foles. I'm going to give you a couple reasons why. And I'm also going to break down some tape. On StreamYard, I'm going to show you on tape why Justin Fields is 10 times better than Mitchell Trubisky and Nick Foles. Or has been better, or will be one of the best quarterbacks coming to the Chicago Bears. Okay, guys, before I start this video, please subscribe to my channel and like the video so I can get the YouTube algorithm up, and it can also help when you like my channel, it can also spread to other outlets, to other people, and to get more exposure, because by the end of this year I want to reach at least 1,000 subscribers. I know that's a little bit big, but you know, a man can dream. But okay, I'm gonna keep it small. I'm gonna keep it small, guys. Okay, I at least want to get to at least 100 subscribers by the end of the year. But hey, a man can only dream. I want to get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of this year, because I'm gonna be doing a lot of live events. I'm gonna be doing live football games, live boxing matches, and everything. But let's get into the video. Justin Fields, of course, just recently got drafted by the Chicago Bears on April 29th, 2021. And prior to him being drafted, not Nick Foles, Andy Dalton, like the Bears signed Andy Dalton in the offseason in March, saying he was going to be our QB1. And of course, if you saw in my last video, I did a rant about that, saying that we got Andy Dalton. I didn't think Andy Dalton was really all that great. But as I started reminiscing over the signing, even though he didn't deserve the $10 million, because it also affected us from keeping Kyle Fuller, which I did not like. And I also did not like the Robert Quinn signing, because that also affected it. And it's also affecting us signing A-Rob, because they didn't come to an agreement today. And I'm also going to make a video about that tomorrow. But as I reminisce and I started watching the video, I said Andy Dalton is a serviceable quarterback. But I digress. Let's get back to the topic at hand. The number one reason why Justin Fields is 10 times better than Nick Foles, and Nick Foles, I'm sorry guys, forgive me. I know it's kind of edited, but I'm gonna do a little bit more better. But the number one reason why Justin Fields is better than Nick Foles and Mitchell Trubisky is because he can make explosive plays. Yes, the past 2 seasons, the Bears have been dead last in explosive plays from beyond 20 yards. So when we're talking explosive plays, in terms of throwing the ball, that's anywhere over 20 yards. Anywhere over 20 yards. If it's a run play, it's over 15 yards per se. Mitchell Trubisky and Nick Foles, well, let's just say Mitchell Trubisky. Mitchell Trubisky was one of the worst quarterbacks. The last 2 years. Not just on PFF, but according to NFL data. Mitchell Trubisky was one of the worst quarterbacks, throwing 20 yards from beyond the line of scrimmage. Yeah, he had a quarterback rating of a 35. Yeah, around a 35 to 40. That is not good. That is not good. And you saw why Matt Nagy was, how should I say it? He was kind of holding his playbook back because he saw that Mitchell Trubisky did not have. He had a bit of an arm. He had some arm. I mean, he didn't have like a strong arm, but he had a pretty good arm. But he didn't have the right placement to put the ball into the receiver's hands. If you look at most of his tapes, you see he's overthrowing receivers, especially the 2019 season. You see he's overthrowing receivers. Granted, it's partly Matt Nagy's fault because he didn't cater the play to Mitchell Trubisky, which is he's a more of a bootleg passer, running out of the pocket and passing. But at the end of the day, it's the quarterback's job to execute the play. It's the quarterback's job to read it and understand the play, going through his progressions, going through his pre-snap reads, his post-snap reads, and knowing when to make those types of plays. Even though Trubisky was kind of good in his post-snap reads, he was not good in his pre-snap reads. And that's going to go into most of the reason why Justin Fields is better. But Mitchell Trubisky was one of the worst quarterbacks throwing 20 yards beyond the field. And that's not good. Not good at all. And it really affected our running game. It really affected our offense from moving and becoming opponent offense. If you look at other teams in the league, if you look at the Chiefs, if you look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, if you look at the Tennessee Titans, you see that they're predicated on their offense. You see that the reason why they're so predicated on the offense is because they make so much explosive plays. You see Patrick Mahomes, time to time, throw to his receivers wide. You see his receivers wide open. He throws it right on the dime, right on the money. You see Aaron Rodgers, the Green Bay Packers, their offense was so explosive because you see Aaron Rodgers, he throws it right on the dime, right on the money. And granted, even though some of his receivers, dropped it, most of the time, Aaron Rodgers was making explosive plays because he was that difference maker. And that was the problem with the Bears quarterbacks, the quarterback room. They didn't have that type of tenacity, that type of skill to make those right kind of plays. And Justin Fields is going to make this team infinitely better, 10 times better than what it was previously. If you looked at multiple, not just the Clemson game, but I've watched a lot. I've watched a lot of Ohio State tape. I watched a lot of it. And Justin Fields, he's looking to make big plays. He's looking to make those big plays. And when he makes those big plays, he's going to make you pay. He's going to make you pay. When he finds that open receiver, he's going to fling it right on the money, right on the dot. I've seen so many games where he's done it. I've seen him do it against not just Clemson. He did it against Indiana. He did it against Rutgers. He did it against Penn State. I mean, the list goes on. He did it against Michigan, where he was throwing dime passes to Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson. He was getting his plays open. He was going beyond his pre-snap, post-snap reads, seeing where to place the ball, knowing where the ball is going to be placed. Even in training camp, Darnell Mooney was saying that while Justin Fields was throwing the ball to him in midair, he was smiling. He was smiling in midair because he knew that ball was placed so beautifully in the air. It was placed so magnificently, so beautifully in the air to him. And that's what Justin Fields can bring to this table. A lot of NFL scouts say that Justin Fields is one of the most pro-ready NFL quarterbacks in the draft. And I believe that. I mean, you saw that in the Clemson. He played some of the most stiffest defenses, some of the best defenses in colleges, especially against Northwestern. Northwestern was number one that year. Number one. Northwestern was number one that year. I saw that game. Number one. He was missing half of his teammates. He was missing Chris Olave in that game, half of his players in that game, and he still willed his team to winning that game, even though it was tough. He willed his team to win against Clemson, even though Clemson was the better team overall. Clemson overall was the better team. And if Justin Fields probably didn't get hurt against Alabama, it probably would have been a closer game, but I probably still would have had Alabama winning because Alabama was just, man, they're a juggernaut of a team. They're too good. But that's the type of player Justin Fields is. He has that it factor. He has that caliber, that type of caliber inside him, and that's what he can bring to this Bears offense. Now, reason number two. Why Justin Fields is 10 times better than Mitchell Trubisky and Nick Foles is that he can read defenses and he can also go through his progressions. I can't even stress this enough. Reading defenses in a quarterback is one of the most essential things that a quarterback needs to have in his arsenal. I mean, you can be the most athletic, you can be the most arm talented quarterback, but if you cannot read plays, if you cannot read defenses, if you cannot read pre-snap reads, post-snap reads, it doesn't matter. You're not gonna make it long in the NFL. You're not gonna make it in the NFL because reading defenses is one of the most essential things to being an NFL quarterback. And you saw it with Trubisky. You saw that, and you see why Mitchell Trubisky is a backup with the Bills. Mitchell Trubisky could not read, and he couldn't read an NFL defense. If you go back to before the draft, I think who was it? It was like some coach. I don't know if it's Brian Baldinger. What's that guy's name? It was one of these coaches. And these coaches was asking Mitchell Trubisky to identify this type of defense. What type of defense is this going to be? Is this a cover two? Is this a blitz? And how will you approach this type of play? How would you approach it so you can stop them from blowing up the play? And Mitchell Trubisky couldn't even answer it. He couldn't explain it. He couldn't tell them. He couldn't tell them that. But when it came to Justin Fields, when Matt Nagy was trying to challenge him about reading a certain play, the next day Justin Fields was able to remember it and remember it word by word, bit by bit, every single detail. He was able to do that. And not only that, one of these sports psychologists, has graded over 6,500 NFL quarterbacks since I believe it was 2006. And over the course of that time, Justin Fields has the highest mental aptitude test out of all the quarterbacks, over Patrick Mahomes, over Baker Mayfield, over who else? Who was the other one? Baker Mayfield, and over Josh Allen. Those quarterbacks. That's crazy. He had a score of 130, highest. He set the standard. Justin Fields set the standard in in order to be an NFL quarterback. He already set the standard. He already set the standard in the mental aptitude test. That's the type of player he is. And when it comes to running this Bears offense, when it comes to what's the word I'm trying to say? When it comes to running the Bears offense, when it comes to running these types of plays that Matt Nagy has in his repertoire, he can open up the playbook. He can open up the playbook. He can design plays to suit Justin Fields' needs. And at the same time, he can also run the type of offense that he wants to run, a la Andy Reid, the same plays that Andy Reid runs with the Kansas City Chiefs. But I don't know why he's doing that, because you have to be your own man. But that's who Nagy is. He wants to do his own thing. But Justin Fields, he can do that. He can do that in everything. He ran a 4.4. He has a cannon of an arm. Read defenses. He can do that. Reason number 3. Why? And this is one of the most important things. One of the most important things. No, actually is the number 1 reason. Number 3. This is the most important reason why Justin Fields is better than Mitchell Trubisky and Nick Foles, is that he has the it factor. I said it. He has the it factor. He has the killer mentality. He has the Jordan mentality. I said it. Y'all may think I'm crazy. I don't care. But you're going to look at this video maybe 3, 4 years, 5 years from now, and you're going to say, Kofi, you were right, man. Justin Fields has that it factor. Now let me explain. When you saw Mitchell Trubisky playing some of the toughest, right? When it came to the bright lights, when it came to the most important moments in games, when it came to us facing the Green Bay Packers, in order for us to make the playoffs last season, you saw that Mitchell Trubisky could not overcome. You saw that he could not take his team to the next level. When you saw that game, hell, even against the Rams, you can't really say it was Mitchell Trubisky that carried us to the win. It was really the Bears' defense. And that was one of the most pivotal games in the Bears' 2018 season. When it came to the wild card game with the Eagles, with the double doink. Yeah, granted, he made it all the way to the 43-yard line for us to get us in position to win the game. But the game really shouldn't have been close at all. The game really shouldn't have been close at all, to be honest. Let's be honest. For majority of the game, the Bears could not move the offense at all. And now when you bring a player of Justin Fields' caliber, you see the way when he walks into a room, he commands the attention of everybody. You see when he walks into a room, everybody listens. His teammates listen. He says, look, I don't care what any of you guys think. I don't care what any of those other guys think. We are the best team in the room. We are the best team in the room. And no one is going to stop us. No one is going to beat us. If you saw one of his videos, he was hyping up his players. You can see he carries that leadership mentality. He carries that mantra, that moxie about himself. You saw what happened when the Big Ten was about to cancel the 2021 season. But guess what? Justin Fields was one of the players to help petition the NCAA to stop the Big Ten from canceling a season. And that is what type of player Justin Fields is. He has that it factor. Y'all already saw. I don't even need to explain it. That legendary game against Clemson with the bright lights going against the #1 quarterback in the draft in Trevor Lawrence. The better team. Clemson was head and shoulders better than Ohio State. You could say they're probably even up to par with Alabama, close to Alabama, talent wise. Well, Alabama was a little bit better talent wise in terms of the overall team, but they had some position players on that team that were first round picks. Most of them were first round picks. Let's be honest. And guess what? Going up against the #1 quarterback who was hiding in the shadow behind him, behind Trevor Lawrence the whole entire time. People were saying, oh, he's the second best quarterback behind Trevor Lawrence. He's the second best quarterback from high school all the way up until college, up until this moment. Justin Fields gets hit in the ribs. He's like, no. He has that if I die, if I break my leg, if I break my ACL, I don't care. I'm still going to play this game. I'm still going to give it my all. If I tear my ACL, I tear my ACL. But damn it, I'm going to win this game for my team. That's the type of mentality that he had against Clemson, going up against Clemson. After he took that shot, threw a 56-yard touchdown to Garrett Wilson. Then he threw a 43-yard touchdown to Chris Olave. Threw another touchdown to one of his tight ends. Was just pouring it on Clemson, pouring it on him, pouring it on him. After he took a shot to his ribs, took a mean shot to his ribs. Because he said, I'm not going to lose to this team. I don't care if I break my leg. I don't care if I break my whole body. I'm going to win this game for my team. And that's the type of player that the Chicago Bears have. And that's the type of player that the Chicago Bears need. Because the Chicago Bears represents that no quit, no nonsense type of attitude. That type of grittiness, that type of blue collar, get in your face. If I die, I die type of mentality, because that is what the Chicago Bears is. That is what the Chicago Bears is, guys. And that is my 3 reasons. My 3 reasons why Justin Fields is 10 times better than Mitchell Trubisky and Nick Foles, guys. Okay, guys, y'all take it easy. I'm out.